So next one is okay. Next one is BC to 225 AD. Right. So its capital was Python, right? Or yes, yes, right. Okay. Then Python, uh, which was also called as Pratishthan, which was also called as Pratishthan, right? So that is what its capital. See, after Mauryas, right, in Deccan and in the central India, the most native successors of Mauryas were Satavahan, right? But that they were not all over the India, right? Whatever the Mauryas have handled or whatever the Mauryas have expanded, so that much was that much expansion was not of the Satvans or of Sangha dynasty or of Kanwa dynasty, right? So you can consider this particular part. So Satvans are considered to be identical with the Andhras who were mentioned in the Puranas. The early Satwan kings appeared not in Andhra but in Maharashtra, right, where most of their early inscriptions have been found. So Shimuka was the founder of Satwan dynasty. Right. Shimuka was founder of Satwan dynasty. Then Satkarni first, right, its third ruler of this dynasty, the third ruler, raised its power and prestige by conquest. Then Hala, who was the 17th ruler. See here, one by one, you need not to go, right? We can consider because it's a very quite big period, so we can consider only the significant rulers. Hala, who was the 17th ruler, was the author of Satyasai, which was written in Prakrit. Right. Then later on, you can consider the Gautami Putra Satkarni, who revived the Satwan power and defeated the Sak Kshatrap Nahapana. I think there had been some movies. I think there had been a South movie called Gautami Putra Satkarni. I'm not able to recollect exact title, but during this lockdown only I had come across that movie. Right? Okay, so what I want to tell you, Gautami Putra Satkarni, who revived the Satwahan power and defeated the Saka Kshatraf. He was the greatest Satwahan ruler, right? Actually 23rd Satwahan ruler. Then Vasishta Thiputra Shrikanta Karni, right? Vasishta Thiputra Sri Satkarni, who was 23rd ruler, right? So then later on, there had been Yajan Sri Satkarni, 27th ruler. It was, I think, the last great ruler of this dynasty. Right. Then Pulmavi III, who was 30th ruler of Satwan ruler. So Satwanas were finally succeeded by the um, Ishkavarus in 3rd century. So Satavahanas started the practice of donating land with fiscal and administrative immunities to Brahmanas and Buddhist monks, which eventually weakened their authority. Right. The earliest inscriptional evidence of land grant in India belongs to the 1st century BC. Then later on, under the Satavahanas, many chaitas called worship halls and viharas called monasteries were cut out from rocks, mainly northwest Deccan or Maharashtra. Right. So some of them, the famous examples are at Nashik, Kanheri, and Karle. Then some of the stupas were also scattered all around Ellora. Right. Then the most famous of these attributed to Satavahana period are Amravati and the sculpture treasure house at Nagarjun Konda. So the official language of Satavahanas was Prakrit, and then Satavahanas issued their coins in lead, copper, bronze, and cochin. Right. So this is what you can consider about Satavahan dynasty. Right. So these are one of the most important most important of the native successors. Native successors of Mauryas. Okay, of Mauryas in Deccan and Central Asia, India. Deccan and Central India. They were considered identical with the Andhras. Fine. So Simuka right, founder of Satavahan dynasty, was founder of Satavahana dynasty. Then Satkarni first. I think by the name of Satkarni also there is a movie. That Satkarni, you can consider the 3rd ruler of Satavahan, raised its power and prestige by conquest. So there have been different conquests, right? Then Hala, right, 17th ruler. Right, 17th ruler was author of the author of Satta Sai. I will write it here. Satta Sai. Right. Satta Sai, which is in Prakrit. In Prakrit language. Then the later on Gautami Putra Satkarni Gautami Putra Satkarni, who was 23rd ruler, revived. Right. He revived Satwan power. Who revived Satvahana power and defeated the Sak Kshatrap. Sak is KSAT Shatraf Nahapana. Right. So he was the greatest ruler. Right. Greatest ruler of Satwahan. Then here we can consider Yajan Sri Satkarni. Sri Yajan Sri Satkarni, right, who was 27th ruler. Yajan Sri Karni, who was 27th ruler. It was the dynasties, Satavahan dynasties, last great ruler. Last great ruler. And the last ruler was Pulmavi III. Pulmavi III, right, 30th ruler, was the last Satavahan ruler. Right. He was the last Satavahan ruler. Right. If anybody wants, you can. Done. I hope you must have done. So Satavahanas started the practice of donating land to Brahmanas and Buddhist monks. Which eventually weakened their authority. So under Satavahanas, many chaityas viharas were cut out from rocks. Cut out from rocks. Viharas were cut out from rocks. Right. So its examples you can consider as the chaityas and viharas at Nasik, at Kanheri, and at Karle. Their official language was Prakrit. Right. They issued coins of lead, copper, bronze. Right. So this is what you can consider about Satavahan dynasty. Then there have been Chetty dynasty of Kalinga, which is also called as Chedi dynasty of Kalinga. Right. Chetty, it is also called as Chedi dynasty of Kalinga. Chetty or Chedi dynasty of Kalinga. The history of Kalinga after death of Ashoka, right? You know, Ashoka had had brought Kalinga into the empire of Mauryan in 261 BC. Right? So after death of Ashoka, the history of Kalinga is shrouded in obscurity, and there had been a new dynasty known as Chetty or Chedi dynasty, right? So which rose in the region probably maybe in the first century BC. Right? So the information about this dynasty is derived solely from Hathigumpa inscription of Kharvela, right? Who was the third ruler of dynasty. Then a follower of Jainism, right? This particular ruler was a follower of Jainism, and the Kharvela was liberal patron of Jain monks for whose residence he constructed caves on the Udaygiri hill, right, which is in Orissa. So this is what you can consider the dynasty of Kalinga. Fine. So after death of Ashoka, a new dynasty, rose called Chetty or Chedi dynasty. Chetty or Chedi dynasty. Fine. Information about it. Information about it. The information about it was derived completely from the Hathigumpa inscription, right? Hathigumpa inscription of Kharvela. So who was Kharvela? Kharvela was third ruler of this dynasty, right? Who was a, okay, I will write Kharvela was follower of Jainism. He was called a follower of Jainism. Was a liberal patron of Jain monks. He constructed the caves on the Udaygiri hills. Right? Where it is? It is in Bhubaneswar, Orissa. I think double R. Fine. Right. So this is what you can always consider about the native rulers. Okay, so this is all these you can consider as the native successors of Maurya period. Right. So as like this, now the second part you can consider, that is of the foreign successors. Right. Foreign successors of Mauryas. Foreign successors of Mauryas. Right. So very first one in this you can consider the Indo-Greeks. The Indo-Greeks. Right. And the time period you can consider, that is 2nd century BC. 2nd century BC. When they have invaded, right? 2nd century BC. Now see, the Indo-Greeks, which were also called as Bactrian Greeks, were the first foreign rulers of northwest India. During post-Maurya period. Right. Bactrian Greeks or Indo-Greeks were the first foreign rulers of northwest India during post-Maurya period. The most famous Indo-Greek ruler was Menander, who was also known as Milinda. Right. He was from the period of 160 BC to 145 BC. So he was converted to Buddhism, and we have considered there had been a book which was called Dialogue Between Milind and the Buddhist Saint Naksen. Right. So that Milinda is nothing but this Menander, and basically he was from Greek. Right. He was from Greek. So he had converted to Buddhism by Naksen. Right. Naksen was also known as Nagarjuna. Right. So Milinda repaired the Sudarshan Lake, which was built by Mauryas, right, in order to irrigate the dry region of the Saurashtra. Dry region of Saurashtra. Right. Then the this period or the Milinda's period was important because the large number of coins have been issued in this period. Right. So the Indo-Greeks were the first rulers in India to issue the coins, which can be definitely attributed to the kings. Definitely attributed to the kings. They were the first to issue gold coins as well. They had introduced Hellenic, that is called Greek features in art, giving rise to Gandhara school in the northwestern India. This is what the Indo-Greek ruler is concerned. Right. So Indo-Greek. Fine. Indo-Greek, it also called as Bactrian Greeks, were first foreign rulers, right, during post-Maurya period. Right. So most famous ruler was Menander, right, also called Milind, right, also called Milind. He was converted to Buddhism, by Naksen, right, who was also called as Nagarjun. Right. So Milind repaired, right, the Sudarshan lake, right, to irrigate the dry region of Saurashtra. If anybody wants, you can. Done? Indo-Greek rule was important because very first thing, large number of coins were issued, right? And I think we are at the end of session, so we may continue it in next session. Second is the